Hi, this is Mato of BMI Academy. Welcome to our 10 problem series on mathematics. Specifically, our focus will be on Unilag Postutme class maths problems. This is episode 1, and the focus will be on 10 problems only. Here we have the first problem. It says, the adjacent side of triangle ABC includes an angle of what? 40 degrees. If the adjacent sides are 9 centimeter and 12 centimeter long, respectively, find the area of the triangle correct to the nearest whole number. And feel free to pause this problem and solve it yourself if you can. Here you need the area of the triangle. And to find the area of a triangle, generally, if you have a right angle triangle, most students are used to distance sides. But in this situation, if a question supplies you something like a triangle A, B, and what? And C. And probably you will supply an angle what? An angle theta at A. So in this case, the side facing A is usually labeled small letter A. Opposite side to point B is small b. And this is what? Small c. To solve this problem, we simply say that the area is equal to, since the question supplies you the angle A and also supplies you something like what? B and C. So what do? You say the area is equal to what? Half what? BC sine what? Sine A. You can also say that the area is equal to what? Half what? Let's say AC sine what? B. As well, you can say that the area is equal to what? Half let's say AB sine what? Sine C. So in a nutshell, the question will supply you 2 points, two sides of the triangle and the what? Angle between them. Once you have a problem like that, what do? You make use of that formula. So in this problem, you simply have the two adjacent sides are 9 centimeter and 12. So we have it that the area is equal to 1 over 2 dot 9 dot 12, and you have what? Sine what? 40. So 2 in 12 is 6. 6 times 9 is 50. Is that not 54? Okay, that's what? 54. Sine 40. 40 degrees is not a friendly angle. It's not a common angle. So it means you just have to use your calculator there. So in that case, what do you have? You have what? 54 sine 40. Press that. That gives us 34.7 centimeters square. Question wants you to put it in the nearest number. Okay, you can tell that this is going to be approximately what? 35 centimeter what? Square. Now you'll see the way the question randomizes the options. We have 35 appearing twice. One has a centimeter square and the other has a centimeter. So do not fall for the trap. The answer is 35 centimeters square. Next question. This is the question on trigonometry. And what are you expected to know here? You need to know the acronym SOHCAHTOA. This is a common acronym for finding trigonometric ratios like sine, cosine, and what? Tangent. Sine means what? Opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is what? Opposite over adjacent. And all this applies in a right angle triangle. So what do you do in this case? You simply quickly draw a right angle triangle. Since this is sine, which is x over what? Y, that should imply opposite over what? Hypotenuse. Since x is on top, that's the opposite. Y is below, that's the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle, so we have this as a y. Then, if I label this angle here theta, The side facing it is going to be what? X. What do you do there? You do Pythagoras theorem. So if you do Pythagoras theorem, this side is going to be y squared minus x squared in the square root. Why is that so? If you are choosing to make it what? A, Pythagoras theorem, y squared equals to what? X squared plus what? A squared. You make A the subject there, that's going to be what? Square root of y squared minus x squared. Right? Now the question then tells you to find 1 over tan theta. First thing you should do is to get tan theta, which is opposite over adjacent. What's the opposite in this problem? X. The adjacent in this problem is A. And we have our A to be equals to what? Square root of y squared minus x squared. And do not forget what we need is not tan theta actually. We need 1 over tan theta. So you have to reciprocate the problem, the answer. So 1 over tan theta, which is usually called cot theta, is now going to be reciprocated as a square root of y squared minus x squared over what? Over x. So there is only one option that aligns to this. The answer is what? Option C. So option C is the answer to that problem. Okay. So moving on. Okay, before we move on, as a candidate in exam hall, you have maximum of 40 minutes to solve this problem. If you have 40 minutes to solve a problem like this, you don't have to waste time. And there is something I forgot to talk about. This range given to you, excuse me please, implies that the angle is acute because it lies between 0 and 90. There's going to be a little change in the way we look at it if the angle lies between a different range. For instance, between 90 and 180, between 180 and 270, and in that manner, depending on the quadrant it falls in. Okay? As a candidate in exam hall, this is what I'm doing. Immediately, you have what? This triangle, this is y, this is what? X, call this theta. Immediately, you do what? Y squared minus what? X squared. Okay, from there you have what? A tan which is opposite over what? Adjacent. From there, you quickly reciprocate it and get what? Square root of what? Y squared minus x squared over what? X. That gives the option C. Question 2. This is a problem on indices. And according to the law of indices, when you have something like a square root of what? That's not square root, that's 8 root. That is 8 root of what? X raised to the power of b. That's what you have there. According to the law of indices, this can be written as square root of b or raised to the power of 1 over a. Why? I give you something like nth root of what? Let's say nth root of y. This same thing as writing y raised to the power of 1 over a, 1 over n. So in that case, the solution to the problem there is going to be x raised to the power of b over a. Is the final answer there, and that's option A. Question 4. Sum to infinity of a sequence. This sequence is a sequencing GP. It's called geometric progression. The system is a series or sequence is said to be in a geometric progression if there is a common ratio. You can easily agree with me that if you keep multiplying the corresponding number here by 1 over 4, you get the next. 1 times 1 over 4, you get 1 over 4. 1 over 4 times 1 over 4, you get 1 over 16. 1 over 16 times 1 over 4, you get 1 over 20, 64. Formula for sum to infinity of a geometric progression that is convergent is given as A over 1 minus R. A is the first time. In this case, our first time is 1. R is the common ratio. In this case, our common ratio is 1/4. So in this case, what do you do? 1/1 minus 1/4, right? Easy way, just multiply up and down by 4. 4/4 minus 1. So that gives you what? 4/3. So the answer to this problem is 4/3. Straightforward. What would be the value of 850 compounded at 15% for what? 4 years? This falls under interest and simple interest and compound interest. In this case, we have compound interest. We're not interested in the interest itself. We're interested in the amount which this will compound into. For compound interest, I'll just give you a straightforward formula. The amount is going to be equal to principal into 1 plus what? R raised to the power of R. And the N in this case is the number of cycles involved, number of years involved. P means principal and R is the rate. So in this case, our rate is 15%, which you write as 15/100. That's that. Then what do you have? Our principal is given to you as 850. So your A is going to be 850 into 1 plus 0.15 is 1.15. Rest of the power of number of years in this case is 4. So rest of the power of 4. So what do? You take your calculator and press what? That. 850 times 1.15 raised to the power of 4. So that gives you 1,486.66. So that's what you have there, and only option C aligns with that. Moving on. Question 6. Suppose 600 Naira is invested at 10% simple interest per annum. What is the accrued amount after 8 years? Unlike the former question we saw, which is compound interest. Compound interest is an interest you get when you continue to use your final amount as a principal for the next year. You go into a business, you put in a certain money, you earn interest. But now you're using both the principal and the interest to do business for the next year at the same rate. That's compound interest. Simple interest, you are only getting the interest on the initial principal, in this case, which is the initial principal is 600. So how do we get the amount? Amount is always equal to principal plus what? Interest, right? And interest itself means what? Principal times what? Rate times time over what? 100. So in this case, we have the principal is 600. So by the time you bring this in, we just go straight and say the amount is equal to 600 plus that, or okay, let's go 600 plus 600 times the rate in percentage is 10. The number of years involved, which is time, is 8 divided by what? 100. So this cancels out. So you simply have what? 600 plus you have what? What's that going to be? 480. When you add 600 and 480 together, that gives you 10,080. That's the final answer. Question 7. What is the percentage of 18,000? Sorry, I take that back. What percentage of 18,000 is 234? Okay. Let us even use logic for this problem without having to solve. If I ask you for 10% of this thing alone, 10% means you are dividing by 10. That would have been 1,800. And this is still far away. Your answer is going to be less than 10%. So definitely it can be what? These two, right? Then your answer lies between A and what? And D. So why not just do 1.3% of what? Of 18,000? This means 1.3 times. Percentage, just cancel out what 2 zeros from this, because this would have been 1.3 over 100, and that 100 would have cancelled out 2 zeros. As a candidate in exam or do this thing as fast as possible. When you cancel out 2 zeros from those 3 zeros in 18,000, you have 180. You can easily tell that's what base. If you multiply those, that should be 2, 3, 4. So you have 2, 3, 4 times 180. Sorry, times what am I saying? 180 times 1.3. That gives you what 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's just using logic. With logic, you can easily pick your option here. But let us assume you want to stick fully to maths to get the percentage of 18,000 that will imply 2, 3, 4. Just do 2 3, 4 over what? 18,000 times what? 100. These 2 zeros cancel this. So you simply calculate 2, 3, 4 divided by 18, and that's going to be 180, I mean 1.3%. A choice. Question 8. Express this as a fraction. Okay, let's invite in logic here. When you multiply these two numbers, this number is already greater than 40. This is greater than 1. When you multiply them, I'm expecting an answer bigger than 17. Expecting an answer bigger than this. Expecting an answer bigger than this. I don't have to solve this problem. I'll just go ahead and pick what? Option A. So for the sake of math, you can choose to solve it. So what do? You go ahead and do the multiplication together. So you do 42.5 minus 2.5. So this gives you 106.25. So what do you do here? You can decide to turn it to a fraction, 10625 over what? 100, right? So then you carry out your division. For instance, now, wait, is this even going to look like what we have there? No, we don't need to do this. Let's do 1000 divided by 17. So that gave us what? 83 point that. Apparently the answer is not here. So it's not even A. But to be honest with you, as a candidate in examiner, I would have picked A and moved on. So the answer is not what? Here, none of the above. Like I said again, as a candidate in exam or after trashing B, C, and D, I might have gone for A without having to solve that problem. And here we have 4 over 25 convert to what? Percentage. Just do 4 over 25 times 100. We want to convert fraction percentage multiplied by what? 100. And when you want to convert percentage to what? Fraction, divide by 100. As simple as that. 25 in 100 as 4 times 4, 16. So the answer is what? 16%. And the last question for today is on conversion. We were given 55 euro and you are to convert it to Naira. The conversion, $1 is equals to 1.1 euro. And the same $1, they meant to write $1 here, is equal to what? 240 Naira. What's our job? To convert this to Naira. You start from 55 euro, right? So let's try and eliminate euro. In order to do that, you think of which of this conversion contains zero. The first one. So because I want to eliminate euro, I need an expression of euro down. And here, the question already gave me that what 1.1 euro is equals to $1. So what do? I'll write the whole expression of 1.1 euro down. What should I write up above it? Should be the $1. If the aim was to convert this to dollar, we would have stopped there because euro, we cancel out euro here. We'll be left with dollar. But in this case, the aim is to convert it all the way to what? Naira. So what do? We still go ahead and find a way to eliminate the dollar. This is an expression that contains dollar and what? Naira. So I need an expression that contains dollar down that will eliminate this dollar expression here. So we have it there. So we have what? $1, right? Let me rewrite that. So you have $1, then above it you have 240. So your job is just to say 55 times what? 240 over 1.1. I will give you the final result in what? 9. Don't forget that this is 9. Final result will be in what? 9. That's how you solve problem like this, no matter how what difficult it is. 24 divided by the 9.1. So that gives you 1,200 now. That's option what? Option B. I need you to know that you can have more difficult question on conversion. Okay, let's say we have something like, let me take this off here. Okay, imagine we have something like maybe a question gave you one, let's use 50 shares units. Let's say I give you something like 1M equals to what? 30 watts M. And I give you what? 1N equals to 87p. Just 87p. Maybe a question gave you 1p, 1p. Why am I writing Naira? 1p equals to, say we have something like a 50 U, and say we have something like 25 watt U equals to 7W. And the question say convert. Allow me to change this to something else so that you won't think. Let's call it W. Let's say question say convert 30M, convert 30M to W. If you want to convert 30M to W, it's not difficult. So what do? You simply say, you start from 30U. So you have 30, sorry, you start from 30M. You have 30M dot. You try and eliminate M, and this is what you have that contains that M. So you go ahead and say over. This is M divided by, N. Then above it, you put what? The equivalence, which is what? 30 what? N. Right? Then dot. It's now time to eliminate the Naira. Above me, make use of this information. Naira information there is 1 Naira. So we have 1 Naira. Above it, we have what? 87p. Okay. Then dot. The p expression there, we try to cancel it out. So here we have what? 1p. Above it, we have what? 50. Now, where are we taking it to? This is U. Good. We are taking it to U. Allow me to cancel this out so that you won't be confused. So this is going to be U and dot. Finally, we have to remove the U expression. So what do we do? Below it, we have to write 25 watt U. Then above it, what do we have? We have 7W. Now, what do I want you to see? I want you to see a systematic conversion from 30M to what? W. So we've been able to convert 30M to what? W in this situation. You get that? Okay. So this is how you carry out what? A conversion like this. You just need your calculator and punch that in. That's going to be 30 times what? 30 times 87 times 7 divided by 25. So that gives you 21924. That's the final result there. Okay. That's the final result we have there. Okay. That's in W. So 30M equals to what? Equals to 21,924 W. That's the systematic way of carrying out conversion. Thank you for listening. See you in the next class. Bye for now.